Hey folks, welcome back. I'm your host, RR Slugger, and I still had a few loose ends I wanted to tie up surrounding the theme Throwbots. This is going to be a bit of an unscripted video as I go through a little laundry list of bullet points that I have here, so let's get started. Firstly, Hiker Mike. Hiker Mike is secretly the best Throwbot. And I kind of wish I spent more time in the script talking about him. He's got all the hallmarks that make Throwbots so wacky and weird, and this adorable little play feature. I tried to feature it in the stop motion clip, but it's almost like he's sensing danger, right? He's walking through the woods and then all of a sudden, roar. Yeah, there's something out there, right? So, yeah, I love Hiker Mike. I think Hiker Mike is absolutely awesome. There is one thing I wanted to mention about his design here, and it's actually this antenna piece on the back, or at least the way it clips into the model. In the instructions, it seems to be calling for this piece, but I went through and looked at the parts I had available, and I didn't have one of those in black, at least as far as I could tell. So I just kind of adopted the same sort of connection system that we see on the back of Amazon and plugged it onto the back of Hiker Mike. And I think that's probably what was intended here, but I just thought I'd point it out. I'm going to jump around here a little bit, so why not hop back to the original Throwbots and Scuba. Now, there were a couple of things about Scuba that I didn't mention in my first video. The first one being this Technic to system connection on the bottom of his head. Now, this is present on all Throwbots, but Scuba is the only one that makes use of it, and through some limited visual searching I did, Scuba might be the only set ever that made use of this connection. It's rather noteworthy in a way, so correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the only one I saw during my search that used these two kind of anti-studs on the bottom of his head. Really curious stuff. The other thing I wanted to mention about Scuba that I didn't have time to in my first video is this yellow tube. It is both thin enough to fit inside bar-sized holes, but also flexible enough to fit over top of bar-sized objects, leading to a lot of versatility in its use case. Unfortunately, it really wasn't used all that often, so Scuba is just kind of a shining example of what it can do. On that note, I want to clarify that I really do enjoy Throwbots, despite the fun that I like to poke at them. They are weird and quirky and strange in their own ways, but they're really cool. And honestly, I'd take a Throwbot over a Toa Metru any day. Sorry. I don't know. Does anyone want me to make a video like this where I talk about how I don't find the Toa Metru all that great? I've got more than enough ammunition right here, let me tell you, but I just don't know if that's something people would want to watch. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd like to see from Slugger. Something that was pointed out to me in the comments section of my most recent video was the existence of two separate pod molds for the Throwbots. I was just completely blown away by this, but the bottom half of the pod seems to have been redesigned midway through production. Yeah, you see these two little fins here along the side. The original run of Throwbots didn't have them, but somewhere midway through that original production run, they added these little fins to the side. And what these fins do is they help keep the lid from snapping off when you open it up. As far as I know, Spark and Flare always came with the new mold with the fins on it, but somewhere in the middle of the original production wave, they switched gears and added these extra fins onto the end. I've got one here for Granite in dark gray, so that's kind of interesting. Honestly, this is such a strange, subtle change that it's like the Martian ears all over again. So go check your pods, see if you've got fins or no fins. The other thing that was pointed out to me that left me completely dumbfounded was that Millennium's disc is not an 8-pip disc. His gold disc is actually a 9-pip disc. Yeah, it's got 9 pips on it there. I can't believe LEGO did this. I honestly just can't wrap my head around it. They established throughout the entire series that the grading system is between 0 to 8, right? And then, just for the last disc, they decided, you know what, just pop on another pip on the end there. I didn't stop to count. I assumed a maximum amount of pips was 8 pips, because that's what the system had taught me. It'd be like if I threw on an extra slug on the slugometer just out of nowhere, and we all know what happened the last time I tried to do that. I have to come clean about something else I said in the video too. Millennium actually does have leftover pieces no matter what mode you're in. If you are in what I would consider to be the main model, there's actually a couple of these pieces left over, just 2 of them. You need them for the Mega Robot build, but you don't need them for the motorcycle, so they just kind of hang out. Yeah, so that's not great, but it was also kind of an awkward thing to try to incorporate into the script, so I just kind of left it. So I kind of told a fib there. I'm sorry, but yeah, if you're building the regular model of Millennium, you're gonna have a couple of pieces left over that have nowhere to go. I don't know why, but there you go. Keeping in the vein of Wave 2 Throwbots, Blaster has this little leg connector that I didn't really talk about in the video. It's a 2-length axle piece that, during construction, connects his knees together. So kind of lends towards building the model, and then once you're ready to play with it, you disconnect it, and I guess you just leave it in there, and your Blaster's good to go. That's my best guess as to why it's there. It's just to aid with construction, but I don't know, maybe it's a stability thing. I didn't really see much of another reason for it to be there. So if you have any ideas, just let me know what you think it does. So I also read an interesting theory as to why Spark has become the rarest of the Throwbots on the aftermarket, and it all has to do with a certain Toa, one that was never truly released, Toa Variki. If you're unfamiliar with Toa Variki, well, Variki isn't a Toa. He was never going to be a Toa. What he is, though, is he's the center of what was a rumor surrounding the Bionicle community at the time, where this might have been the 7th Toa. Now, obviously, upon retrospect, looking back at this image, you can obviously tell it's very clearly doctored. But when you're young and impressionable, these things can work, right? So this theory then would suggest that Spark was sought after for his purple pieces in order to construct a Toa Variki of your own. Now, I don't necessarily see the 100% correlation between the two here. The parts used in Spark don't look like they're the exact same parts used on Variki, but I do kind of like this idea that it's the pieces themselves that were sought after, not necessarily Spark being either underproduced or region exclusive, any of those sorts of things, right? This makes a little bit more sense to me, that it was just basically poached into extinction based on the need for purple pieces for Bionicle mocks. That kind of checks out to me, yeah. I think lastly, I wanted to mention that I've taken photographs of all of the discs I own. I've put them up in a folder in my Google Drive, so you can go and check them out if you want to view any of the cool artwork that they have. Now, obviously, I don't have all of them. I will never have all of them. I'm okay with not having all of them, but I thought I'd try to do my part and at least try to preserve the ones I have, so feel free to take a look at them. With that, I think I can confidently turn the page on Throwbots. Throwbots are great. They're awesome. And also weird and also bad. They can be all of the above. So what's next? Well, Robo Riders would make sense, right? It was the next theme to be released, and it just fits right in between Bionicle and Throwbots. Kind of a little offshoot idea that really didn't go anywhere big, but it still has a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to making videos for it. The reason as to why is because of the combiner models. My God, the combiner models. There are so many combiner models in Robo Riders. So I'm kind of at a loss as to how I am going to go about this. So I come to you with open arms. Do you have any idea as to how I should try to tackle Robo-Riders? Because obviously we want to show off these combiner models. If they're there, we should be building them, and we should be looking at talking about them as well too. But that's gonna be so much work. So in Robo-Riders, there are the 6 original canister sets. There's like 4 little baby sets, and then there's the boss, right? And talking about all of those is its own video just on their own, right? So that's at least 15 to 20 minutes of talking and going through the Slugometer, looking at them all. And then, I don't know what, I guess you do the combiner models in a separate video then, hey? And you do that without the, hang on. No. You could do that with the Slugometer. Interesting. Now that I'm saying it, yeah, that kind of makes sense actually, because you could then rate all the different combiner models. Okay, yeah, so that'd be like okay. Cool. All right, I think I know what I'm gonna do with Robo-Riders now. Thanks for your suggestions, everybody. I really appreciate that. It might be a little while before I'm able to tackle Robo-Riders regardless, but there should be some fun things in the near future for us. Until then, I've been your host, RR Slugger. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time for another video.